And we are back with Lisa Waters Lane in the studio. She comes each week. It just does a whole segment just for her, just so I can spend more time with a pretty gal in my office, in my studio. So welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah. So the spring season, it feels like things are going. So it's like people are starting to come in. It's crescendoing. It's starting to go. And then by, I don't know, the end of this month, it's like, mayhem, oh my gosh. So we switched all the garden classes to Fridays at 3 instead of Saturdays morning, just because the facility literally just won't handle that amount of traffic, gardeners and a class. And so it takes so we could spend more time with the students and answer questions without the pressure of, we need to free up the parking lot. Boss, what's going on?
Stop talking.
I know. It gets to that sometimes.
So there'll be Friday afternoons until the end of April.
Right.
Then we can take a break.
Yep.
During the peak of the season and come back in June.
Yep. June 10th or 14th. I have to look. It's on our website. Check watersgardencenter.com.
There you go.
That's where you kind of look, but we'll start back. So the facility every day won't handle a class, and we just had to take a break. And the team, I want them focused on gardeners. I don't want them focused on clearing out the greenhouse, setting up chairs, just help customers put better plants in. I don't know. So anyway. Yeah.
So
what do you have for us? So what's going on?
So we've had many trucks arriving. Spring is definitely in full gear, I would say. And I think we're safe to plant.
I do too.
That being said, always watch the weather.
Well,
but I think we're safe to plant. So we've been getting a lot of annuals in. So those plants, like one season, one and done, but they're beautiful throughout that season. Yeah. But we're also getting some nice perennials in. So most of your perennials tend to be more heat loving, but we have a nice selection of ones that are coming in now that are beautiful. And I brought in a few to show everybody. So we've gotten some really cool lavenders in. So I brought those.
Those are funky. I've never seen the white one. What is that? Is that a ghost or what is that?
So this is a Spanish lavender. This is the white. I don't know if it's Javelin.
You're just thinking javelina.
I know.
You're not trying to. This is not Hispanic. You pronounce the J's in
So this is a white Javelin Spanish lavender. So you can see the tips of it. It's got a little bit of lavender color in the blossom, but the tips are white. So very, very unique. Yeah. Nice to mix out there with some of your dark purple lavenders. Gives you a really nice contrast for that. The other one that I really like, so this is Ghostly Princess. The name's kind of funky, but
sounds terrible. Sounds like Dracula would grow it or something. Ghostly Princess.
The foliage on it is kind of a silvery.
That's true. Cool.
Silvery gray foliage with a light lavender blossom on it.
It's got a pink. It's got a pink tip to it, pink feather to it.
Yeah.
So
really nice ones to contrast with those dark purple lavenders that we have.
So traditional. So these are Spanish. Both are Spanish. And so Spanish is the one you see on the front of magazines. It's got the great big flower head with the
like a bumblebee.
Like a bumblebee. Yeah, it's hovering above it. There's also French lavender. That's the one you do mainly the fragrance of potpourris. It's got more oils in it.
Right.
And then there's English lavender, which is the great big bolt. That's the landscape variety. Right. It's got more wispy, thinner. The foliage is beautiful. It's also hardier. Right. It takes the cold and weather. This kind of winter, the English are going to come back in a heartbeat because they're used to cold, damp, dreary landscapes. French and Spanish, like bright, hot weather kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're perfect for those really hot areas in your yard, in front of a retaining wall, wherever you got a really hot spot. That is perfect for lavender. So I definitely recommend
Javelin Forte, white, and you have Ghostly Princess, Spanish lavenders.
Right.
Two of them.
Plus, we've got the traditional. We've got some Munsteads in. We got some Goodwin Creek in, which are the more traditional English lavenders. So I also brought, this is really pretty. This is Nepeta, otherwise known as cat mint.
Yeah.
So this is another one that's just great for hot spots in the yard.
It's so big, it's taking up the camera. So there we go. We'll try to.
It's a nice kind of more low growing, makes a nice mound, I would say. Probably 18 to 20 inches is how far it spreads out. Just perfect for those spots that nothing else has been able to grow in. Animal resistant. It's in the herb family.
Yep.
So it is animal resistant. We have this one actually in the landscapes at the garden center, which the javelinas go through.
They ravage.
All the
they
time.
ravage. Yep.
And they do not bother this
definitely.
at all. So if you've had a trouble spot before, this is perfect to throw in there.
Normally this would be in bloom in April. So ours, I just cut ours back real hard last weekend, I think. So I cut it way back, and underneath all that matted, old
There's
last
some
year's
new
growth,
coming out.
it's already up 4 inches. So it's usually it would be in bloom by now, but I think just by cutting back the old last year's foliage, exposing it to this kind of weather that's coming right now,
the sun and the warmth,
it'll be in bloom in 2 weeks, and it will not stop blooming through the season. This is one that benefits if you cut it back or deadhead it in the peak of the spring when it's done blooming, then fertilize it. It'll come right back into bloom again. You can have this thing bloom 4 or 5 times
up until a hard frost.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Easily.
Every yard should have at least one catmint, or what's the botanical in that?
Nepeta.
Not Peta. That's a good name. Nepeta. If I had another son, I'd name him Nepeta.
No, yeah.
That would be bad.
Also good for container gardening. So if you're not into throwing stuff in the ground, excellent on the edge of a large container. Kind of spill over and be really pretty there too.
So what is your absolute favorite? You can only have one. You're going to a desert island, you and your plant. It's going to be a perennial. What would be the one perennial you'd take on a desert island with you?
I don't know.
Just name one. First one that comes to mind.
Ooh, I can't do it. I'm out.
Really? I would go autumn sage. For me, Salvia greggii, just because it blooms a long time. Hummingbirds love it. It would bring in the butterflies. It would just be a great little plant. It gets knee high. It doesn't take much care. If I only had one and I wanted to sip coconut juice on my beach, on my private island by myself for the next 5 years, it would definitely be autumn sage.
That's a good one. That's a good pick.
No, that's mine. You can bring one yourself.
What I like the Centranthus.
Oh, that's interesting.
It just blooms so crazy long.
That's Jupiter's beard, right?
Jupiter's beard.
So that's a native. That's a good choice.
Well, thank you.
Yep. So that's a good hardy, easy to care for. Hummingbirds again.
Right. Love it.
Love that. Do we have Centranthus?
We have lots of salvias in the autumn sage.
Yep.
Centranthus, not yet, but it's coming. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely coming.
So that's a good native plant that you should have in your yard. Perennial. That ours is already up. Again, I cut everything back. All the perennials got back last week, and now it's already up ankle high. And within 2 weeks,
it'll be blooming,
covered in pink flowers, and it won't stop until next winter.
Right.
And then it's one that reseeds throughout the yard, kind of like Gaillardia. It just keeps reseeding, or blanket flower. They call it, the common name's blanket flower, because eventually it's going to blanket your yard with this beautiful sunflower type flower that blooms nonstop, and animals don't eat them.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? Pack rats are our nemesis in the backyard.
I know.
Javelina in the front, and neither one bothers either one. The lavenders, catmint, Jupiter's beard is the common name.
Was the salvia.
Salvias. They don't bother any of
those.
Not
at all.
Amazing. All right, so that's it for this segment. Perennials, you can put perennials in now. You can enjoy the fragrance, the color, the beauty now, and not have to worry about covering them or what's going to happen down the road. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners, will be right back after this.